Good morning, um, good evening, good afternoon to each and every one of you. Welcome to SKTV. We are back today for the mental health and wellness series, the other edition. We're back today, very excited to be back. Last week we were not on, we took a break, but we want to welcome all of you. Welcome to the show. Welcome to today's show, Mental Health and Wellness. As you can see on your screen, generativity versus stagnation. As you can see all on your screen, we want to welcome each and every one of you. Please share the show. Share this free teaching educational session. We promise that this stage gets better. Very interesting things we have to talk about today. Very, very interesting. You want to stick around. You want to ensure that you're inviting other people as well so that we can have this conversation. I'm telling you, in this stage of life, you want to definitely know what's going on. It feels good to be back after a short break. We took a short break, we went away, but we are back. Invite other people. Um, SKTV is back in full here. Want to make some quick disclaimer here before we get into sharing the show and getting started. We intend to get started to leave on time today because we have another invitation for this afternoon or tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We announce to you where we'll be and what we will be discussing. We'll also announce to you that we are on tomorrow as well to talk about the politics of Liberia and things that are going on. For some, it might seem like we've been quiet. No, we have not. We've just taken a break, but we are back. So, generativity and stagnation is our topic today. This is the seventh stage of human growth and development. Talk about today so that you can understand this stage. More likely so, we will not end this stage today. We might continue next week to finish up this segment, but a lot to cover in this stage. Very interesting stage is as compared to the last stage, but we'll talk about it. Let's make the disclaimer here. Again, we want to welcome all of you, those of our viewers, our listeners from Asia, from Europe, from Americas, especially those from Liberia who are up at this time of the morning or the night or the morning. I think it's the night now by 11. If I'm not mistaken, they're headed into Saturday morning. We still want to welcome all of you. Spending your data. Some of you will watch later on. I want to welcome each and every one of you. Feels good to be back. Feels very, very good to be back after a little while we've been gone. But we want to make this disclaimer. This podcast or this show is not meant to provide therapy. It's for educational purposes and information. We also want to make this disclaimer that you are welcome to make your comments. You're welcome to disagree with us. Let's just be respectful. No politics on this show. No politics at all. So if you wrote a comment and politics was in it, we will try to, get it off because we don't do politics. This is not, no way. On Fridays, no politics. Strictly to the business and the issues. We also, no cursing. You can disagree with people. This is not where we come to curse, to air out drama or make noise. No, we don't do that. Not here, please. We want a healthy learning environment where everyone can learn. Everyone is free to ask questions, especially if you don't, understand something that's going on, whatever now. We also want to bring to your attention that whatever, if you choose to call in or you choose to contribute to the conversation, whatever you say here, we cannot guarantee any confidentiality. So that means you'll be at your own risk or your own detriment if you choose to share anything personal. We cannot be held liable for it. We just want to make that disclaimer. So, but we encourage you, again, as time goes by, as we're ending this segment, we have people come on to share some of the experiences, the testimonies, and so forth. So get other people on as time goes by. But today, look at the topic, generativity versus stagnation. We want you to share the show, help us share the show. We're going to run quick to share the show. We might play one or two music here today just to be able to help us to share the show in time. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sticking with us. We're back. SKTV is back. We took a break, but like we're saying, like bro, or in America, I mean, we're back in business. Let's share the show. Let's have this conversation. The seventh stage of growth and development. Let's have this conversation today, free of charge. Let's share the show. Some we've been going for a while. We want to play enjoyment while we are sharing the show. Let's enjoy ourselves. Happy weekend. Let's enjoy ourselves here. Really quick. Uno copyright to this song. Let's share the show, please.
You don't even know my story. You don't even know your story, oh yeah. Oh yeah, you know on the beat, I be a loca. So moral. You post a new car on Facebook, but that's so la la. You working better. Loving you, I can get I say you photo. My advice for you in my way I got to confess. Confession. You gotta confess. You must have the impression. Enjoyment, got your blessing. Enjoyment, no more stressing. Enjoyment, got your blessing. Enjoyment, no more stressing.
It's never gonna be another man trash, just another man treasure. Another man fool was another man poison. Got your good, according to your measurement. Got your good, according to your measurement. The player ain't garish, and they play you for it. Just because so impression, impression, fake impression, impression, yeah. You don't even know my story, or you want to share my glory, oh yeah. Everywhere you my way, oh way, oh. Everywhere you my way, oh way, oh. Even touch you my way, oh way, oh.
Enjoyment, got your blessing. Enjoyment, no more stressing. Enjoyment, got your blessing. Enjoyment, no more stressing. Yeah. The hammer you driving nothing into keke. This a ballin'. The thing that we talking, they must stay right here. Stop spoiling my knee. I'm living my life, oh. See, I'm living my life, oh. If you tell you, hey, oh, hey, oh. If you hold you, hey, oh, hey, oh. If you hate you, hey, oh, hey, oh. If you tell you, hey, oh. You don't even know my story. Enjoyment.
Oh my God, you're cute.
Enjoyment, no more stressing. Enjoyment, got your blessing. Enjoyment, no more stressing.
Love.
Find a friend like me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me.
Bombe oh, find a friend like me. Bombe Jene oh, find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. Find a friend like me.
Hey, see bestie. Your bestie not sweet like my bestie. Your bestie da la la bestie. For a friend.
I say, see bestie, bestie wanting to wealthy. Find a friend like me. I hear them say they want me go, I say
Some of them say they want me go,
I say
Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Hey, si bestie, your bestie not sweet like my bestie. Your bestie da la bestie, so a friend.
I say, see bestie wanting to wealthy. Find a friend like me. Okoro, 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 okoro. They won't step on my blessing, but God get it breaking, yeah. Okoro, they won't call it my blessing, but God get it breaking, yeah. Okoro,
French, see French, can't see Papa T French, and I want no back for French. Wangolo, 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 wango for bestie, wango for daddy,
I
wangolo.
hear them say they want me go, I say I hear them say they want me go, I say
Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Some French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. French là, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, oh. Hey, si bestie, your bestie not friend by my bestie. Your bestie da la bestie, so a friend.
I say, see bestie wanting to wealthy, find a friend like me.
DJ Young T.
You got money left, Johnny. You funny. Beats.
Well, welcome back. We want to welcome all of you. Thank you for staying and sticking with us. We were able to share to some extent. Let's get into the conversation here really, really quick so that we can have some things achieved. Again, we want to welcome all of you. We are back from our break we took. It's good to be back. It feels good. Very, very good. We want to quickly run into the conversation here today as to one of the biggest questions that have been asked or that will be asked over time, and that is, what is mental health? As you can see on your screen, the topic for today is generativity versus stagnation. So, but let's focus on the bigger picture as to what is mental health, because most of the times people use these words and they don't. It's important for you to know the words that you are using and where they are applicable, so that you're describing or ascribing the right words to the right event or so forth. So, that being said, one of the big questions that people have asked is, what is mental health? So let's look at what mental health is. According to the World Health Organization, this is good that is according to the World Health Organization, because then it's not restricted to, the United States, to Africa, to Asia, but it's around worded question or answer that incorporates a lot of different things or almost everybody. So the World Health Organization puts it like this: mental health includes emotional, psychological, social well-being. It affects how we think. This is important for us to really slow down and talk about it a little bit. It affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make healthy choices. Now, so because life in itself is balanced, so we have to understand whatever you have healthy, you have unhealthy. So then it continues to say mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence to adulthood. So this is very important, and this description or this definition of mental health covers it all. Because first of all, mental health is not just restricted to, just one part of you. Your entire self as a human being in totality is a holistic understanding of how we function as human beings. And as we go back into this, as we go into this conversation, you got to understand how everything must come together for you to have a good, stable, healthy mental health. Everything must fall in place. So that means it starts from up, it goes down to your entire body part or organ or your physical morphology, however you want to term it. So in here also it talks about the importance of being mentally healthy so that you can handle stress. Now, stress, some people might not believe this or might not be aware of it, but some people might also be stress, they're a normal part of life. Stress is a normal part of life. And stress seem to have been around for a very long time. Before you were born, you know, um, at some point in time, even during pregnancy, stress can lead to a lot of different things, heart rate up and so forth. And sometimes people can have C-section and so forth. But it also, mental health also helps you make, healthy decisions and choices. It does. And healthy for some people could be relatable. It could be different for some people. It could be something else. While others, it could be another thing. So let's move a little fast forward to understand this. Since now we know what mental health is, then the next question that we have at hand is, why is mental health important for our overall health? Why is it? Why do we think mental health is important for our overall health? Why do we think so? Why don't just we move on as human beings in this whole mental health thing? Let's forget about it because maybe mental health has nothing to do with diabetes, or it has nothing to do with stroke or heart attack or other things. Maybe mental health has nothing to do with it. Well, let's find out why it's important. So it's important for us to point this out, that mental health is important. It's as equally important as our physical health, because they must work together so that you can function well, so that you can function as a human being. So this is why when you go to the hospital and so forth, part of the questions they ask you, even if you go see your primary care doctor or you go see just a regular routine, physical routine or checkup or whatever it is, they ask you mental health related questions. They do. They are part of the assessment that they ask. Some of the questions that they ask you, it might not just be restricted to medical issues, the mental health components in it. And let me just say this to all of us. Most of the times, referrals are made from your doctor to see, what a counselor or specialist or so forth, because there are some things that cannot be treated by or with medication. It has to be treated. You have to have therapy. You have to have therapeutic sessions. You have to talk about them. It has to be a mental health professional that can help you navigate or go through some of these things. But let's take, for example, things like depression. For example, things like depression, they are mental health related or psychological issues, but depression can increase your rate. It can impact your physical health. It can create problems. Depression can lead to a lot of medical issue complications. Your physical problems, long lasting conditions like diabetes. Mental health. Diabetes, you can be impacted by that. But another thing again also is heart disease, things like stroke. So mental health is important because these different medical complications that we just listed, can all be traced from or related to mental health issues. Similarly, things like the presence of chronic conditions, they can increase the rates of mental health. So think words like mental health, mental illness, psychological issues, they are words that are interchangeable. They can be used for different things, but and also they might not be the same, but they have components to them that are applicable to our lives. So somebody experiencing poor mental health can be diagnosed or cannot also be diagnosed with mental illness. So that has to be clear. That has to be clear out. So somebody experiencing pure physical issue or psychological well-being can also be diagnosed with maybe instability, unbalanced issues, and so forth. So all of these things, they're important. They have to come together to help us as humans so that we can function appropriately. So let's move on just a little more. So what are some of the things that would cause mental illness or mental health issues? What are some of the things, because some people might be asking themselves, what are some of the things? To be quite honest with you, there's no one single thing. You can't just say that we can't zoom in and just say maybe breakup was the sole cause for your mental health issues. There are a lot of different factors that could contribute to mental illness. For example, people using drugs and alcohol, especially nowadays where people are they're mixing these different alcohols, or they're adding up, they're drinking alcohol at the same time they're taking these different drugs, or they're getting high on something or so forth. Those things have the ability to impact your brain, to impact your function as human being. They would alter how you feel. And every time we talk about the issue of drinking or getting high or so forth, people think that people are trying to be judgmental or they're trying to look down on them or so forth. Let me say this before we move any further into our conversation. I don't think, and I don't believe, in my experience, that calling out the issues means that you're targeting a certain group of people or you're looking at people, you're trying to stigmatize people. I don't want to believe so. I do want to believe, and I know for a fact, that substance abuse, alcoholism, drug addiction, there are serious struggle, there are serious problems. There are serious problems that must be addressed. They must be addressed. We can defend it, running cycles, or try to excuse this to keep playing the victims as to not wanting to address it. So, over time when you drink, over time when you wish, we see most of our society and our community that, people are addicted. They might not agree with you, they might argue with you, but they're addicted. They're addicted. And it's a problem. It is a problem. And the reason we sometimes focus on some of these things also is because they have the ability to alter your mind, how you think, your reaction, and so forth. But as time goes by, because one of the segments path, we talk about how the brain functions and so forth. As time goes by, we'll talk about how alcohol affects the brain, other things like that, and so forth. Because There's been study proving and showing that some of these things that we take in can lead to a lot of different things, put our brain in different functions, in different moods, and so forth. So, but fast forward, let's move forward a little bit to another thing that could possibly contribute to our mental health issues, such as biological factor, mechanical imbalances. All of these different factors, they play together. So biological factors, mechanical imbalances in the brain. Some people are born like that, with mental health challenges, either because of different factors such as maybe during birth, low oxygen. A lot of things can happen from a biological factor or mechanical imbalance, which might not necessarily be our fault. They might be a natural thing or so forth. That people might just be predisposed to some of these things. So another thing also that we have to pay attention to also is, some of the factors is, feeling lonely or being in isolation. Another thing is also experiencing ongoing chronic medical problems such as cancer or diabetes, can contribute. Um, but also early life experiences such as abuse, sexual assault, trauma, domestic violence, um, just all of these different things can lead to mental health. So now that we're caught up on that part, we want to move just a little more to keep on this segment. We want to move just a little more. So you've always seen this older guy. Yes, Mandy, hereditary factors and genes, yes, can contribute, most definitely so. They can contribute as well. They can contribute as well. Hereditary factors and gene. So in other words, we said this here before, and sometimes people want to take it personal or whatever, but I've always said that, especially to the women, pregnancy is not airborne disease. So you can choose the person you, to some extent, get pregnant for, especially when you're quote unquote in love or whatever it is. You have that option. To the sad part of it, some women, might have been violated or so forth in the process. So, that led to the pregnancy. But let's talk about on the majority where people can have that option. So if you choose someone who has maybe mental health history in their family or so forth, and you have children or child together, vice versa for men, and you have children with that person, you could be predisposed. You could be predisposed. That child, one of your children or your child, could be predisposed to mental health issues or whatever it is. Listen, there's no going to church to speak in tongue to change that. It doesn't work that way. We just got to be strict about some of these things and be fair and balance it out. There's going to be no miracle that, go perform miracle and, no, no, doesn't work that way. So yes, so we've talked about this gentleman sitting here, Eric Erickson. We've talked about him, about his contribution, an American German psychologist, or psychoanalyst, as some might call him. We talk about him, but we want to move forward. He contributed to this whole thing that we're talking about now, the human growth and development. His name is Eric Erickson. Some of you will take some of his courses or his classes in college in psychology or so forth. Some of you are required to do it. You are required, especially at the university over there. I teach a course specifically on him for the nursing students. You must take it as part of your core classes or courses that you must take, and you must pass. If you don't pass, guess what? You don't move forward. But let's fast forward. Let's move a little forward. So he came up with, Eric Erickson developed this psychosocial human growth and development, and we've gone through all of the stages. We are at the 7th stage, and in the 7th stage, we're talking about generativity versus stagnation. That's what we're talking about. And as you can see on the ladder over there, you see how we started off with trust versus mistrust. Parents being pregnant, the child is born, you move into these different stages of life, which we have talked about. People get in relationships, people go to school, they prepare for school, they go to school. Some people get jobs. You see some people marry, some people are now at a certain stage, which we're talking about today. We are going down the ladder now. We're going down the ladder. So our parents that we see today, it's not a coincidence. It's a normal stage of life. Most times in Liberia, in Africa, in some of these other countries, we might not see us navigating through these stages of life. But yes, we do navigate through them. We do go through them. And we must go through them as humans. They're part of the stages of life that we experience. Whether you know about it or not, whether you acknowledge it or not, it does not mean that it does not exist. It does exist. So let's move forward to today's conversation. So, what to expect in generativity versus stagnation? What to expect in this stage? Because first of all, most people might we'll lay out the broader picture as to what to expect in this stage, what we need to expect in this stage. Then we'll break it down as to what is generativity and what is stagnation and what are things also to look forward to in both of them. So generally, this stage of your life, some people have not reached this stage. Some people are in this stage, so they would relate to this stage. For some people who have not reached this stage of life, this will help you. This conversation will help you prepare for this stage of life. But this conversation would also help people who are in this stage of life who are struggling to also gather themselves or try to correct, rectify, change some of these mistakes. So this stage of life is termed as the middle adulthood. And this stage of life is approximately between the ages of 40 to 65. Now think about it. 40 to 65. That is 25 years added onto your age. 40 to 65. So when you're 40 years old, when you're between the ages of 40 to 65, you are in this stage of your life. You are in the seventh stage of your life, which is generativity versus stagnation. And you will understand why generativity and why stagnation. You will understand it. And we can relate and look back into this stage to look back at some of the different stages we've covered, because those different stages will help us understand where we got into generativity and where we got into stagnation and where we are now based on our behavior, what we do, and how we are currently. So I'm not talking about a few years back. We'll look at where we are currently, and we examine some of these things to be very realistic and practical so that it can help us. It can help all of us, so that when you see people acting a certain way in public or behaving a certain way in your community, in your society, or in the country, you will understand at what stage they are in their life, especially based on their age. So let's move a little forward. During this stage, middle-aged adults, they strive to create or nurture things that will last them. Think about this stage. In this stage of your life, you should be nurturing and creating things. You should be nurturing and creating things that will last. Often by parenting children or fostering positive changes that could benefit others. So you see, so in this stage of your life, you're either parenting or you are fostering positive change in the community based on your experience that will benefit your life or that will benefit other people as well. So let's take, for example, in this stage of your life, imagine a 40 years old man or a woman acting the fool in public and they have children at home. So you see, going to party fighting and getting arrested, you got to go to jail for the weekend. And who's going to take care of children you just left at home? So you see, so in this stage, you are expected to behave, to contribute to society, to serve as an example or a mentor to young people or to the next generation, to benefit your community, in a healthy way, so that other people can see you as a role model, as heroes, and so forth. Basically, that's what this stage is about. But in this stage also, one of the expectations also, you'll be contributing to society, you'll be doing things to promote future generation. Think about it now. Think about it. You're supposed to be doing things in this stage that will promote future generation, that will help them. But here you are on Facebook or you are in public, half naked, misbehaving, gossiping about other people, things that don't concern you, putting your mouth in it, cursing each other, sharing naked pictures and naked videos around. In this age, instead of fostering things that will help the next generation and your children, at this stage, You are still thinking that maybe you are a celebrity in your head. So you fight to behave like a celebrity. And so it's at the detriment of your children. Sometimes you don't even have your rent. Let's be realistic. But because you want to live a certain style, you want a status or certain style of life. So guess what? At this stage, you're not investing in your children, you're not investing in other people, you're not investing long-lasting things that will benefit you, your children, and so forth. You're investing in temporary things. You are. And so at this stage, there are a lot of things. So to promote future generation that are in need, the last part of this stage, part of the expectation also would be, it's important for us to know that, in this stage, life events tend to be less age specific than they were doing earlier on stages. What that means in a nutshell is this. What that means in a nutshell is this. At this stage, you are not in no competition with anybody. You're not. So that means if you haven't gotten married in this stage, marriage shouldn't be something that you should be rushing about. Because you're not in competition with nobody. So you shouldn't be making temporary decisions at this stage. You shouldn't be in a competitive mindset because at this stage, life events might not be the same. There are some things maybe you didn't accomplish when you were much younger at this stage. When you get to this stage, now you have to be careful as to how to approach them because you are no longer that young person. So let's take, for example, a young 20 years old girl or 25-year-old girl should not be in competition with you, or you should not be in competition with that girl at age 40 or 45. For the men, the same thing. You and your son should not be sagging. You should not be sagging with your son, basically. Basically. You can be passing around and fighting all little boys, at this stage. And, it's at this stage, some things that you didn't accomplish, this stage of your life is important. It's a reflective, mature stage where you don't want to mess up. Also, at this stage, you really got to have priorities and goals because now you're headed from 40. Now you're not going down, you're going up. You are going up. And so at this stage, the expectation is high, is different. And so your priorities will have to change. Let me tell you something. At this stage, you can be 40, 45, 40 years old, 50 years old, and still be chasing these little boys around and wasting your time. Let's just be honest. To the point that some of you even get into trouble that will impact even your ability to provide for your children or your family members. At this stage, you can't be making these decisions. You can't be getting drunk and driving and they pull you over to take your driver's license from you, wherein you can no longer drive to go to work or so forth. Or you got someone a thing on your record or your fingerprint or whatever it is, and you can't work. At this stage, at this stage is a critical stage. So now you see some of the expectation, but let's move forward. So then the question becomes, what is generativity? Because most people would ask this question, yes, you are saying all of these things, but what is generativity? What is generativity in itself? So that big word generativity can be defined as making your mark on the word. Let me say it again. So this big word, when you come to this stage, you want to make marks, or you want to make a mark, or you want to leave legacy, or you want to do something in the word that would help benefit the word, benefit your children, benefit your family members and other people. Not disgraceful things. Not disgraceful things. No, not disgraceful things. Nothing like coming on social media and other platforms where these things can be recorded and kept and misbehaving so that when your children reach a certain age and they're showing them the man on Facebook, they see half nigga and misbehaving and cussing other people and saying, that your man there or that your pa there. No, not that. Not doing things that creates even problems for your children later on down the line, because the first thing will say, oh, that Steve daughter there, or that Steve son there, that rude guy that used to be on Facebook all of the time, God forbid now. That guy that used to be on Facebook all of the time, putting him off in people's marriage and in people's family home and discussing people that I want, that a child. Oh no. 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 We're not gonna, nope, we're not gonna give them that job. We're not gonna refer them. Nope. That the man or the power was very, very disgruntled on his own. You remember that woman that caused the two people to get divorced? Yes, that were talking about it on Facebook Live and passing around. Yes, that the woman there. Yes, that was child there. Oh, that was child there. But then I care what that boy on there. Let it go to the man. The man used to be acting up on Facebook. Yeah, when they used to, when Facebook Live used to be on, that people that used to be acting up. So you see, so the question now is the mark that you will leave here would make a difference. The mark that you leave here will make a difference. Somebody want to call you and you like, oh, that one, oh, that compromise one there. Don't want it, not serious. That one on Facebook, what they fighting and making noise. So drama, no, that drama people in there. So generativity can be defined as making your mark on the word by caring for others, by accomplishing things beyond yourselves, for making this word better. So that is generativity. Pretty much talks about what you're generating for the next generation, what you are doing for the next generation. What is your legacy? When people call you name somewhere, what they can actually picture you on, because every time names are mentioned, there is a picture or semblance or an image of something that you've done, whether positive or negative, that comes to someone that make just the mention of your name to feel either welcome or rejected. So you have to think about this now. You have to really, really think about this. Some people, soon you call the name somewhere, the first thing they'll say, oh, no. We can't bring them in for this one. Oh, no, we can't do this one because of what you've done. So in this context, generativity is very, very important. It's very important, especially at this age. Imagine you're 40, headed to 65 years old, and you are still misbehaving in public. Just imagine the embarrassment you are leaving, the level of embarrassment you are leaving for your children or your family members to defend. So generativity also is developing relationships with family. So all the small knowledge you have when you're small, maybe at this age now you are 40, 50, that turn out for you to be, level-headed, experienced, mature, to create a family bond, communication, open communication, so forth. Generativity also is contributing to the next generation. The question is, what is your contribution to the next generation? Somebody might say to me, well, me, I know book or whatever. That's fine. But you know what to do that is right, though. You know how to help young people navigate problems that you've navigated, that you've gone through. You know what to say. You know how to contribute. You know what to do. There's something you can do to help. There is something you can do to help. So generativity also, it's making commitment to others. You tell people that you help them, you help them. You tell people that you do this, you do it. Also mentoring others, mentoring others. So in the stage also, individuals who are in generativity, they may also feel, sometimes they will feel disconnected. They might have unresolved issue in the community and society. That's okay. But in this stage, it can also lead to success. You can turn it around in this stage. You can turn it around in this stage. Generativity in this stage it can be defined as, you develop the sense of being part of a bigger picture. You see the bigger picture, not just what you want temporarily. You see the bigger picture, because there are some things that you will want to do now. Not that you cannot do them, you can do them, but you wouldn't do them because of the bigger picture. You will not do them because of the bigger picture. So these are some of the things this is the definition of generativity. These are some of the things to expect in generativity. But then we move forward. What are some of the benefits of generativity? How can we benefit from generativity? What are some of the benefits? There are benefits. Listen, let me make this clear. Whatever you do in life, whatever you choose to do, there is a benefit. Whether good or bad, there is a benefit. So And some of these benefits might not be immediate. They might not come to you. Like my grandma used to say, Goo can waste. Let me put it like brown way. No goo can go free. Goo can waste. She always would say that. Oh, goo can waste. Goo can waste. And sometimes I ask, what do you mean by goo can waste? What is that supposed to mean? But then I started to understand that indeed, no good thing that you do goes free or unrewarded. No, that's not true. You might not immediately get the benefit of the reward, but who knows? Maybe you are setting a stage for your child, your children, your family member, your loved ones, people connected to you. Even just your name alone. Just your name alone. Because when you've done good, your name alone. Because once your name is mentioned, someone says, oh yes, remember this person. So your name alone. So what are some of the benefits? Some of the benefits of generativity can lead to better health. There are research that suggests that generativity can provide greater motivation to initiate and maintain healthy behavior. Let me say something about generativity while we move further. If you have not followed all of the past shows that we've done on mental health and wellness, you need to follow it keenly because generativity looks like you're building a block. So for those of us who are Christians, let me put it this way. Success is not coincidental. No. You don't coincidentally become successful. No. Success is not coincidental. So even the life that you live, is not coincidental. Even the life that you live is not coincidental. It should not be coincidental. You might not achieve everything you want. You might not get everything you want, but yet you can set the stage for success. You can set the stage to achieve some goals or certain goals in life. You can set the stage. So success is not coincidental. So the same thing with generativity, as we will navigate through it. I don't want you to think that, you just reach 40 or 50 and these things start to happen. And you start to become part of your children's life. No, that's not how it works. If you didn't make time for your children while you were in your 20s and your 30s, more likely so you will not make time for them when you are in your 40s and your 50s. Let me say that so that I can be clear. There's no magical wand to just change you for you to want to be in your children's life or for you to want to do what is right or what is good. So in other words, what I'm trying to say to all of us is some of these reflections, some of these things that we're seeing today, it is the reflection of how people live their lives from, let's say, 18 up until 40 or 45. There are a lot of things that happen to them. So they get to this stage, instead of acting a certain way, they don't act a certain way at this stage. They act out of the norm. So we need to understand that because that's important as well. That is important for us to understand. It's important for us to understand that it doesn't just come by coincidence. And it doesn't come by people going and speaking tongues at the church. No. It comes by you making certain choices and decisions in your life, such as whether it is prioritizing your children. Let me tell you, let me say this. If your children were never your priority in your life, they will not be your priority when you turn 50 or 40. Nope, they will not. Can you fight to change that? Yes, it is possible. But then you have to let go what's your priority at that point to reshift your priority. The same thing with anything you do in life. So at this stage, it's a good stage to be. Like we said, some of the benefits, generativity, you can provide a greater motivation and initiate and maintain healthy behaviors. Part of this also is, generativity can provide more positive relationships. Imagine you've been having a relationship with your children and they reach a certain age, you've invested in them, and just that pride alone as a parent. Imagine you've given to the community, you've helped other children. Not all of them might come back, but just seeing other people from your community, from your society, you've positively impacted their lives. As they go, it's a reflection of you. You've done something to benefit humanity and to benefit the world. So when you abandon your children or you abandon your responsibility or other things, then it's a problem. So we'll get to that part, which is the stagnation part, and I think that's where some people are stuck. And we'll talk about it, the stagnation part. We might not talk about it today. We'll talk about it next week. You will see the bigger picture as to how people are stuck. They're either stuck, stay in the 20s, because it will make no sense. It will make no sense for you to act, you are 45, but to act 25. Now, it's okay for you to feel 25, but when you start to act 25 or behave 25, then something is wrong with you. I'll give you an example. The way we know that somebody is now okay in the head or something is wrong mentally with them is this. Imagine a 50 years old man. Imagine a 50 years old man. Cut his hair, or 50 years old man, cut his hair. Just imagine this one. Imagine a 50 years old man, cut all the hair around his head, and just leave a little bit right in front here. Imagine I see 50 years old man in a community sagging. Just imagine that picture of that same 50 years old man at the same time. God, maybe he's got a big earring in your ear, and he's standing in the corner and see, these 18 years old, 19-year-old little girl, and he's whispering to them, he's trying to holler at them. Just imagine that picture, and that is your father. And you as a young girl, you're coming with your friends. You're between the ages of 18 to 25. And that 50-year-old man, your father is at the corner and doing that. Pick up that picture and imagine that picture. Someone will say, but there's nothing wrong with it. Well, there is something wrong with it. The reason you think there is nothing wrong with it, but that's the person's choice. That's how they want to live. What the reason you think that there is nothing wrong with it is because you want to turn abnormality to normality, and that's not how life works. When you reach a certain age, you reach a certain stage in life, you behave a certain way, you act a certain way. You cannot be 50 and be dressing like 25. The same way how when you gain weight and your size now becomes medium or large, you cannot go buy small and go around in the community and wear that small in the community. When you wear the small in the community and it does not fit your body size, something is wrong with you, especially if no one bought it for you. You took your own hard-earned money. Just imagine you go to the store, your size is small, no, large. And you went to the store, took your money. You were not under the influence or anything. According to you, you are sound in your mind. But you went and told the people that they should give you a blouse or a skirt or a shirt in small, but you can wear large. And you wear that blouse or that skirt or that shirt, and you come outside in the public, and people see you with it. The first reaction that comes from you, because you know what you are doing is not right, will be people are judging you. No, people are not judging you. You are projecting that feeling that you have, that guilt that you have. You are projecting it on people because you know what you're doing is not right. It does not make any sense. You know that. No one has to tell you. The reason you are rushing into judgment or saying people are judging you, it is because you know you have not even met your own expectations. You know you look funny in that clothes. So you see. So people must act or behave their age at some point, to adjust to normal. So in this stage also, some of the benefit is greater productivity. The action required for you to develop a sense of generativity involving taking an active participatory role in the world. So yes, generativity encourages you to participate in life. take active roles. You don't just sit by and see wrong and just say, oh, hey, now, the how Liberia looking, or the how we been all this while. You get involved. You contribute. Generativity also greater fulfillment. You have a greater fulfillment because generativity focus on making contributions. People who can develop these skills are almost likely to experience a greater sense of satisfaction with themselves, and with the life they live in general. Yes. So generativity can bring you some sense of, you're satisfied, you feel accomplished, you feel like you've played your role, you've done your part. When some of you can sit today and look at your children and reflect all of the times you took while your friends, were doing other things, when you can just see your children and say, wow, I thank God that I didn't abandon my children like other people did. I'm glad I made this decision to sacrifice to stay with my children as opposed to staying in that abusive, whether that marriage or that relationship or whatever it is. I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't get hooked up on drugs or so forth. Who are going to raise my children? Who are going to take care of my children for them to be who they are today? All of these different things. Generativity will help us, increase community involvement and so forth. Community involvement would be increased in generativity. So I want to move on to some of the things we'll close up on here on some of the things that can contribute to generativity. And then next week we'll talk about stagnation. These are some of the things that can contribute. It is not restricted to these 5 or 6 points. There are more. Some of them we might not have highlighted them today, but let's look at some of the things that can contribute to generativity. First of all, you take pride in your work and your family. So start looking over your life. Just start looking over your life. Are you proud of yourself? I'm not saying be proud in an arrogant, deceptive, dismissive, pride way. I'm saying be factual about where you are today and where you want to go, what you want to do. Are you proud of your life and your family? This aspect of the generativity versus stagnation is centered on the sense of pride that adults take in the family and children. Are you proud of your accomplishment? Are you proud of how you care for your children, how you care for your own life? Let's forget about your children, just your own life, yourself. Are you proud about your life where you are now? Or are you using other things to just cover up because you are not proud of where you are? So you feel that intimidation that you feel already complex. So you feel maybe you got to belong on a group. So you just do anything. You just do anything or everything. Is that where you are in your life? Then you need to question yourself. So another thing also is your feelings. Your feelings included. Feeling, if you feel included, if you feel part of something positive or community. So some things that can contribute to generativity is feeling included into things. The question included into what? So you see how some people, even at the age and where they are now, in the stage of their life they're in now, they will do anything to become part of a group or to just be considered because of that inferiority complex or that struggle that they've had all through their lives. So the question is, feeling part of something. Feeling part of something, whether it's family unit or large group of community, is essential for developing generativity. Let me say this to you. At this stage of your life, you would have to start to develop something we call a support system. You would. Very important. Because when you start to hit 60, 50, going up the ladder, you know the importance of support system. So at this point, you want to start building up a support system. So what group are you part of? What group? Who are you feeling included? What are you feeling included in? Is it the drama and the noisy people? Who is it? But also in this stage, also to help contribute to generativity, you have to take responsibility. You have to stop blaming other people. Stop blaming other people. So taking responsibility is important. As people go through adulthood, they must choose whether to take responsibility for their lives and choices. You will have to take responsibility for your life and the choices you make. You will have to do that. You will have to do that. You will. There is no, you can go around and blame everybody else, blame everything else until you can start to take responsibility. You will not realize where you went wrong and what you need to fix. So taking responsibility. So also feeling productive in this stage, feeling productive. So feeling productive, work plays a major role in our adulthood. So it is no surprise that an individual's sense of pride and accomplishment in their work can lead to feeling productive. That's true. Now just imagine, just imagine at this stage of your life, just imagine you are sitting there and someone who's supposed to contribute to your life, supposed to feel productive in your life, the guy is not working. Let me break this down to the simplest practical way. The man got all the people sitting in the country. He not sick. Nothing wrong with him. No handicap, nothing. And you, the woman, you are working 24/7 and supporting him. And he excuses, oh, the thing was I studied in college and I can't find any job in my field. Well, then pick other field. I know McDonald's is hiring. There's nothing wrong with that. Take pride in your work. Working at McDonald's you are earning you are earning a decent, reasonable, respectable living. Be proud of your work. So encouraging to go get a job and go work. Please do that. Please stop. So in the stage, you take pride in your work. But on the other hand too, you take pride in the work that you've done. That even when you look at some of you now, I'm not saying when you leave for him, I go look at maybe your 401k or other things. Don't rush here to take it out. But take pride in the work that you've done. Take pride in your accomplishments. Some of you bought homes or you've bought a house in this country. Some of you have, even though your family members back home trick you or whatever it is, you've built something, you've contributed, you are contributing back home. Take pride in your work. Take pride in how you've raised your children, whether a single parent or not. Take pride in it. Take pride in it. Look back. Look back. You might not have everything you need now, but take pride in the little things that you've done, the little work that you've done. Some of you who have established your businesses, you're running it. They might not be bringing the amount of money you want or you expect, but you have something to sustain you. Some of you have taken care of yourself in this country so much, you're healthy, you don't even look your age. While other people are not doing that. These are different work. It takes work to do that. So take pride in yourself. So the last part of this also would be making contributions. As the generativity stage draws to close and people approach the final stage of life, finding meaningful place, finding meaning plays an increasing critical role. Let me say this, and this is where sometimes I get a little disappointed, and it seems more as a cycle that parents, people who are of age, who are experienced, who are mature, are expected to set certain standards, to live a certain way so that we can follow in that footstep. But then we don't see that, or we haven't had the opportunity to see those things. So we move now into decisions that we make. Some of the older folks are not setting the standards that they're supposed to set for us. Rather, it seems more as they've become our competitors. Imagine you going to a basement baby shower where everybody all the young people are in that basement in the baby shower, and you see your uncle there sweating. You understand? But on some real note though, some of these things are foundations that people, parents and family members are expected to lay. Now, if they don't lay that foundation, the question becomes, are we willing to lay those foundations for our children? Because yes, we didn't get it. What are we doing now so that we can lay these foundations for our children? These are important things that we have to think about as we close this part, and we'll continue next week on stagnation. We'll talk about stagnation next week because of time. We'd like to close here, but we'll talk about stagnation next week. As you can see, you understand what is stagnation. As you can see the picture there, you are seeing people going in cycles, and we'll talk about how we see how stagnation impacts our lives, and if we're not careful, it will impact the lives of our children. And we'll point out some of the signs that you need to look out for, even in your children now. You might say to yourself, well, maybe I'm too old now. I'm 40, I'm 50. There is no way I can do certain things. Great. Maybe you are the sole provider for your home and you need to work and you need to take care of the other thing, take care of the other thing. And maybe you might not be at that point where you have the leisure of time. Great. So we're examining stagnation in different ways and what stagnation really means and how it impacts us as humans and what it does to our lives. We'll talk about the danger of stagnation because we'll even go back into the past wherein next week, some people will examine their own lives. What are some things that they've struggled with when they were much younger that serve as stagnation today in their lives? We have to examine these different things and know them and understand them as part of the teaching for next week. So we'd like to pull up the number here for the next 5 minutes. Okay, if you want to contribute, feel free. Put up the number for the next 5 minutes. We'll give our announcements and we will call it a good weekend or a good afternoon. Let me pull out the number. Feel free. You can call this number and you will get directly to me, 480-401-2081. You will get directly to me so that you can make your contribution. But next week, we'll talk about stagnation. Today, we'll talk about generativity. Next week, we will talk about stagnation. So, let's give it the next 5 minutes while we are here, because we'll be closing up here. We've gone over our 1 hour mark here. We've gone over the 1 hour mark here. So we want to give at least 5 minutes, either 5 or 10 minutes. So if you have any question, any concern, feel free. I know some of you like to write your questions or your concern. You like to write them. We're following as well. But let me give the announcements. So let me check the flyer up first. So to be sure, I want to be 100% sure. So come, let me see the time. Wow, they got it wrong. What kind of conversation is so? All right, so tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I'll be on Focus on Liberia. I will be on Focus on Liberia with my man Sonny here. We have Brother Josh Tule and other people on Focus on Liberia. And we'll be talking the hours of politics. So I'll be on Focus on Liberia in the next one. Is that 2 hours or less than 2 hours? I'll be there. We'll be talking politics. So I just When and if you have the time, you're more than welcome to join us there. 9 p.m. Eastern Time, focus on Liberia. We'll be there. We'll talk just a little bit of politics. We're going to be talking a lot of national issues, talking about a lot of different national issues, a lot. And so I look forward to that conversation with the gentleman. Tomorrow, let me make the announcement to you. Tomorrow we're resuming. We're resuming here on SKTV, talking to politics. We'll be on here at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. No, at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Yes, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be on here. We're resuming again. We're resuming the politics. Please join us tomorrow. We're going to cover everything nationally. Siku will be here. Telvi will be here, so that we can have this national conversation. We'll talk about everything. And we got some we got some serious international noisy news to bring. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But that being said, we'll be on tomorrow. Please tune in. Same channel, SKTV, same place. We'll be on here tomorrow. We'll talk politics. And when I say politics, I'm saying deep politics tomorrow. It will be very, 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 very. We'll talk about some of the things that are behind the scene and some of the things that are going on. But again, like we said, this show is not for politics, so we wouldn't dive into it. Any question, any concern? Next week we're resuming. We'll finish up with stagnation. Today we talk a lot more about generativity. We'll talk about stagnation next week. We want to thank you for sticking in, staying with us. Thank you. It's not that easy to leave your busy schedule, most of you. Thank you for following us. Some of you, thank you for sharing the show as well. Next week we'll talk about stagnation. I want to say thank you for following the show. If you have, I'll give you the next, let me see. We got 3 more minutes. 3 minutes, we're out. So give it the next 3 minutes. Feel free to place your calls. If you want to, at any point, if you want to participate, feel free. Today we talk about generativity. Talk about the importance of, this age group, 40 to 65. It's a very big age group. And we'll talk about some of the things that can happen in this age group and some of the expectations. So we're encouraging you. Next week we'll challenge you as well on stagnation, where some people are stuck. They're stuck, in this age. Can you imagine being 40 or 50 and you're stuck? And you will see some of the problems we're faced with as we get into this conversation. You will see it. You will be able to tell that this is where you are stuck. You will know right after the conversation. You will realize it. Whether you tell us here on the show or you go back into your closet and re-examine your life, you tell us. And the interesting part about it is, if you don't fix it, if you don't address it, you will be covering it up for the rest of your life till you die. And most of the times, you will take that problem that have made you stagnant and transfer it to your children or other people, or community or society. It will become their problem. So we'll talk about some of these things. Some of the things we see people do in public, the way people carry themselves and the way they act in public. Please, to those of us who are Liberians, that are no swear. That not swear. No swear, they're not cursed. Let me put it that way. They're not cursed. What happens is they're stuck. They don't want to seek help. They don't want to admit that they're stuck. They don't want to even acknowledge that they're stuck. So they're stuck. They recruit other people to help pump them up temporarily and feel like they've overcome the problem, but they're still stuck though. That is the problem. The problem is not that anybody in the village is bewitching them or don't want them to move forward, don't want them to prosper, or whatever it is. That is not true. Don't let nobody fool you. That's not true. That's what you are being told in the churches, in the mosques, and other places. That's what they teach you. The truth of the matter is people are stuck and they need to seek help. They need to address their issues. People have issues, serious issues, dating back from their young days up until today. And you think it will go away. That is the problem. Look, smoking, drinking, doing other things to distract yourself and think that your problems will go away. That's not how it works. It does not go away. It does not go away. Buying holy oil, somebody praying over you, people shouting, does not make it go away. No, it doesn't make it go away. So yes, so I want to say thank you. We will stop here for today. Tomorrow we'll be on. Thanks to all of you for sharing the show. Have a good night. Good weekend to all of you. Stay out of trouble. Do what you need to do. Stay safe. And let's call it a good weekend. We're going to copyright to this song. Enjoy. But stay safe and stay healthy.
You don't even know my story. You don't even know your story, oh yeah. Oh yeah, you know on the beat, Pavia Loca. So mora, you post a new car on Facebook. But that's so la la. You working better. Bluffing and acting jealous, say you photo. My advice for you, in my way, I gotta confess. Confession. You gotta confess. You must stop the impression. Enjoyment, got your blessing. Enjoyment, no more stressing. Enjoyment, got your blessing. Enjoyment, no more stressing.
It's never gonna be another man trash, just another man treasure. Another man fool was another man poison. Got your good, according to your measurement. Got your good, according to your measurement. The player ain't chemist, and they play booty. Just because of impression, impression, fake impression, impression, yeah. You don't even know my story, or you want to share my glory, oh yeah. Everything you my way, oh way, oh. I'm gonna ever owe you, my way, oh way, oh. I'm gonna even touch you, my way, oh way, oh.
Enjoyment, got your blessing. Enjoyment, no more stressing. Enjoyment,